Ohayou gozaimasu. Today we're looking at Genki, lesson 12 kanji, and that's on page 346, 347 in your textbook. So the first kanji is mukashi. Mukashi means ancient times. This one is read by itself, mukashi. And then you have mukashi banashi, which means old tale. And we kind of know also that old tales start with mukashi, mukashi. The structure of this kanji is kind of interesting. I think we know this one already. This is kariru with ninben on the side here. And the right side is mukashi. So our strategy for kariru, to borrow, was a person, because it's the person radical. And then this was supposed to be some sort of fence here. And then this is day. So a person borrows something from their neighbor over the fence every day. And this then, if you want to use a similar strategy, the past or ancient times are borrowed days. And so the stroke order for this one is actually pretty easy. It's ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi. This kanji is quite easy. It is a symbol rather than anything that has a particular meaning. It repeats a sound or repeats the kanji itself. So we see it in things like mukashi, mukashi. Hitobito, notice there's a sound change with that one. Tokidoki as well, a sound change. Iroiro na, meaning various. And of course the structure of this is quite easy. You have this stroke right here first. Okay, and then you have something that looks like katakana ma. So you could say that ma matches the sound of the prior kanji. So once again, that's ichi, ni, san. I tend not to make this as long, so I think a little shorter is actually okay. This kanji means God, and it is read in the onyomi. The Chinese reading is jin or shin. Or ko, and then the Japanese reading, the kunyomi, is kami, which we're probably more familiar with this. But we have seen shin or jin. Well, first one here is kami-sama, which is one way of saying God. You could say kami as in gods, and kami-sama generally means God. You have jinja, so we recognize this second kanji here from kaisha no sha, but here it's ja. And also then Shinto. So Shin meaning God, To meaning the way, and Shinto means the way of the gods. So the Shinto religion. Now this is made up of some interesting radicals. So this radical, which looks like ne, means to show. And the right-hand radical, this one right here, means to honor. And in fact, that radical is actually a kanji, mosu. Mosu. So when you say, makumiken tomoshimasu, I am humbly called, mikmiken, that's that kanji. So in a sense then, one honors God by showing respect. So the stroke order is quite easy. It's ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, cute. This is also a very easy kanji. It means early. The onyomi, the Chinese reading is so. The kunyomi, the Japanese reading is haya, so it makes hayai. And then you have haya okiru. This kanji is, I believe, on the next slide. Sojo is a kind of Chinese way of saying, this is a Chinese loan word, meaning early morning. So, of course, the top radical is sun. The bottom radical is 10. I don't know. The person who wrote this put, whoa, he left at the crack of dawn. That's early, so this kind of represents a person. But I think that 10 works somehow. I just can't figure it out. 10 o'clock's not exactly that early. But in any case, here's the stroke order. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku desu. So this is the kanji for to get up or to wake up. The onyomi is ki, the kunyomi is o, so you find in things like okiru, And okosu, so okiru is to get up. Okosu is to wake someone up. So this is a very good example of a transitive, intransitive pair, which there are a lot of in Japanese. And also you have stuff like kiritsu suru, to stand up, and this is what they do at the beginning of lots of Japanese classes. They stand up and take a bow. They don't do that in university, but usually in elementary school and middle school, high school. In any case, the structure of this kanji is quite interesting. On the left-hand side, you actually have the kanji. It's the radical, but it's the kanji for hashiru, to run. And the right-hand side is a variation on this, and it means to halt. But I like to think of the right-hand side as more of a snake. So it has kind of like a snake sort of curled up there. So someone woke up, saw a snake, and took off running. The stroke order is fairly easy for this one. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And don't forget that kind of hooks up there. This is the kanji for cow. And it's read gyu for the Chinese reading, the onyomi, and ushi for the kunyomi. So by itself, of course, then it's read with the kunyomi, ushi, and then you have the onyomi, gyunyu, milk, as well as gyuniku. I can't remember if we studied niku before, but anyway, to me this looks like some ribs, like baby back ribs. Anyway, a cow, the strategy is a cow with one horn, not to be confused with noon, which looks fairly similar. So the only real difference is that the line comes up the top here, whereas it stops with noon. And it's fairly easy. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. To use. The onyomi is shi, the kunyomi is tsuka, and we know it as tsukau, to use. Also, then you find it in things like taishi, which means ambassador. This is interesting. This is something you might see on a door, and it's shiochu, which means occupied. So this means in use, essentially. This is also a variation of use, and this is in the middle of, so in the middle of being used. So the left is a person radical. Here's your strategy. Then the right is a pictograph, basically, of someone walking away with a box, and that box is right here, that they will be using. So you can kind of see this, this leg position over here. So the stroke chord is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8. This looks like a hard kanji, but it's not that hard. It just has lots of strokes. It means to work. Do is the onyomi. Then you have hatara and batara. But we know it as hataraku, which we learn in this chapter. So the left is the person radical, so that's fairly easy. The middle, I can't remember if we've ever studied this, but this is actually the kanji for omoi. Now, interestingly, if you take a look at omoi, you have basically car here, but then you have 2 extra wheels on the outside. So think of that as a car is heavy, but especially with 2 extra wheels, it's heavy. And then on the right-hand side, of course, you have the radical for strength, chikara. So really, people have to use their strength to move heavy things. Makes perfect sense. So this is how it works. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there are a lot of strokes. I think the tricky bit here is that you do the middle stroke here in the middle before you do these 2 bottom strokes. That's a little tricky. Notice that this stroke and this stroke are angled. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't look like this. Both of those are angled and should be written as such. This kanji means to link, And the onyomi, the Chinese reading, is ren. The kunyomi is tsu. We've heard this verb before. It's tsurete. In this case, they have kairu, but you could use tsurete iku, tsurete kuru. You might hear it in cases where, for example, if someone said, oh, bring your friend to the party. Ja, tomodachi o tsurete kite kudasai. But also then you find it in things like this. Kokuren, which is the United Nations, right? So linking together different countries, as well as renkyu. Renkyu means basically holidays that are linked together or consecutive holidays. So actually then it makes sense to use this strategy, 3 cars linked together, where that left-hand radical looks sort of like a 3. So start out with the car, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10. This kanji means to separate, but we also learned it as to break up with somebody. So it's read betsu for the Chinese reading, waka for the Japanese reading. So we find it in wakareru, to separate, but also it's betsuni, which means not in particular or not particularly. Also, you can find it in tokubetsu, which means special. Also, betsu betsuni, like if you went to a restaurant and you wanted to pay separately, you'd say, no, betsu betsu ni haraimasu. We're going to pay separately. So the person who did this PowerPoint for me, one of my students, he divided this into, this is a block of tofu here, and that bottom radical looks like man, as in ichiman, and then you have sort of a knife here. The stroke order for this kanji is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of the things you want to make sure of is that you're not writing this like ka. So normally ka would be written like that, but this one has a very distinct sort of angle to it, like this. Time or degree, it's read as do. So for example, ichido means one time. Kondo means in the near future. Usually it means like next time, kondo. Also then we have ondo, where on represents temperature, do represents degrees, and of course if you're talking about degrees, sanjudo means 30 degrees. Here's a strategy. How many times have we come to this cottage where the outer part of this kanji like this is sort of represents the cottage, and then you have somebody, a pictograph of somebody on the inside maybe crossing their arms or something, or perhaps this is a picture on the wall, and then this is like a table. I'm not 100% sure when I look at this. Anyway, so it's stroke order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's the kanji for red. It is red seki for the onyomi, aka for the kunyomi, and of course akai is the reading here. Akachan, which means baby, so they're usually red when they're little. Equator is sekido, and the red cross is sekijuji. So these actually are read the way you think they would be read. A strategy for this one is under the tomb, so that's kind of like a tombstone on the top, there is red blood. In any case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hook there, 6, 7. I guess if we're going to learn red, we might as well learn blue. The onyomi, the Chinese reading, is sei. The kun reading, the kunyomi, is ao. So aoi. This is an interesting use of blue, but seinen means youth. So I suppose the years in which you are sort of blue. I'm not sure why blue is associated with youth, but anyway. You also have ao shingo, which interestingly means green light. So Japanese consider the kind of light that you see on a, like a stoplight, to be blue more than green. But of course it's translated as green. Oh, also ao ringo. So green apples are called essentially blue apples. At night, the moon, this is a strategy. At night, the moon gives off a hue that makes the skyscrapers blue. So the top part is supposed to be, something that looks like a skyscraper. And then you have the moon underneath. I guess you could think of the skyscraper in the blue moon. Not sure if that's helpful, but anyway. So you have ichi, ni, san, shi. That's always tricky for me. I always want to do all of the horizontal strokes first. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi. And don't forget your hook right there. This is the last kanji. It means color. The onyomi, the Chinese reading, is shiki. The kunyomi is shoku or iro. We are most familiar with the iro version. Also, iroiro na, where we're using that repetitive symbol here. Keishiki also means scenery. The strategy for this one is one paints on the easel with two colors. So this apparently is the top part of the easel right here. Almost looks like katakana ku. And then you have these two palettes right here. And this is sort of like the outline of the easel. And so this goes ichi, ni. This next part is tricky. It goes ichi, ni, san, shi, go, and roku, where this last stroke here ends up being this one. And then it hooks up a little bit right there.